Welcome, everybody, to an episode of Burning Ledgers. My name is Ernest Anunciacion. I'm your OG CIA and resident sneakerhead. While I am not the host of this podcast, I am the executive producer, but I am joined today by Mr. Matthias Steinberg, who will be the host of the Burning Ledgers podcast going forward. You'll probably see me and a few other co-hosts popping in and out. So, Matthias, let's just start off. How about an introduction of yourself? Tell us about you and we'll get into the content here.
Thank you, Ernest. My name is Matthias Steinberg. You mentioned it. I will be hosting the Burning Ledgers podcast. In my day job, I am the CFO of MindBridge.ai. And I've been active at the intersection of technology and finance for probably the better part of the last 15 years. Very excited about starting this podcast with you and the team.
Give us a peek behind the curtain, though. Tell us a little bit interesting. Where are you from? Where do you live right now?
So I'm my accent might give it away. I'm from Germany, lived most of my life in Europe, in different European countries, and married a Canadian. And 3 years ago, we moved to Toronto, Canada, where I'm now based. I have two daughters. One is 5, one is 7. The 5-year-old is the author of this of the painting or the collage you see in the back. It's a unicorn.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
I like it a lot as well. And so I joined MindBridge. Previously in Germany, I was CFO of a company called Ionos. It's a mass market hoster that usually I simply say it's basically a European GoDaddy. So a company now that is about $1.5 billion in revenue doing mass market hosting. It was at the time private equity backed, so I did 5 years there. Very much a company that now is working, has the profile of a company that is now intensely working on how to use AI in general, but also in finance. So when I came to Canada and saw what MindBridge was doing, I was very intrigued, was very interested, being the target customer in being a CFO. And I ultimately joined MindBridge, for the past 3.5 years have been part of the journey.
So that's awesome. That makes a lot of sense as a CFO and working for an AI-based company, but also have been in tech for quite a while. Tell us about this podcast. What can listeners expect from Burning Ledgers? And I guess just why this podcast now?
What we want to do with Burning Ledgers is we want to contribute valuable insights and content for finance professionals that are in the process of figuring out AI in finance. And I'm saying figuring it out. We all know that AI is really starting to permeate all parts of our lives. In a professional context, of course, all departments in a company. However, the way that is done, the value it can bring, the challenges that need to be overcome are very unique to the specific department and the specific company. And so in finance, I feel there is there is a lot of opportunity. There will be, that's my deep conviction, a fundamental change in how we do finance, how we run our companies. But at the same time, there's many more questions right now than there is answers. I think we're just at the early innings of this transformation. I'm part of a company that's very active in it. MindBridge is building technology for AI technology for the finance department. I'm part of the community. I go to industry events. We speak to customers. I see what we learn every day as we work with our customers. And I think it's fair to say that there is a lot of challenges, there's a lot of questions, and because we are so active in this space, I think we as a team can really contribute interesting insights to the discussion. So ultimately, what we want to do is we want to mainly do interviews with industry professionals, with practitioners, with experts, with technologists, whoever is can help us look at this topic from different angles. And really, we want to hear the stories. We want to hear what people are working on, what's working, what's not, what are their takeaways, and also what's their prediction for the future. And that's really the idea. And I think that will really make for a super interesting source of knowledge, inspiration, and as we go forward and do these podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely, Matthias. I love what you said there about us figuring this out. It feels like it's a generational moment in terms of technological advances, right? AI, I feel like is here to stay, and every persona, every professional, even personally, how are we trying to take advantage of it? It's akin to big waves that have happened in the past, like cloud computing, or even the dawn of the internet. So me being a former chief audit executive, and although I haven't been in the game for more than 15 years, I still talk to my friends that are in internal audit, and they're all wondering the same thing too. And so I think getting perspectives of from our customers, from other CFOs, from other finance professionals, risk, governance, compliance, etc. We're all trying to figure this out together. And so really, I think it's just educational in the market. And the last thing I'll say about that, you can go on Spotify, you can go on Apple Podcasts, and there's tons of them that are around AI, very theoretical in nature, but not as much of the practical application of it in terms of our day-to-day jobs. So, I'm looking forward to creating a lineup of interesting and compelling guests that can give us their perspectives and, kind of how they're seeing things and how they're using it to make their jobs better. One question I have, and I think would be really interesting for the audience, though, is the name Burning Ledgers. Tell us about how we came up with that, and what does Burning Ledgers mean to you?
Yeah, so I think as a team we felt we wanted to do to find a name that is slightly playful and that can communicate that in addition to all the educational value we want to bring, we also want this to be fun and also simply interesting. As you just said, this is we are deeply convinced this will be the most dramatic change in how we how we do our jobs in our lifetime. And as such, it's super exciting. I think finance probably will, or the finance profession will, if you embrace it, is about to see the most interesting, but also most challenging years in a long time. So we wanted to find a name that communicates that we also want to have fun, that we want to talk about finance, but at the same time that we expect that finance, the way it is today, it's not gonna be like that tomorrow. So generally, ledgers are associated, at least in my mind, to be something extremely stable, to be something that we try to keep as uneventful as possible. Certainly not keep them on fire or light them on fire. So that tension, I thought was, and we thought was interesting enough to spark interest and communicate that this is really about the disruptions that's about to hit finance, including the ledger.
Yeah, super appropriate, I think, for the time and moment that we're in. My take on it is there's kind of a dichotomy of burning ledgers, right? So if we're talking about ledgers, as in general ledgers, uh, burning them down, right? Out with the old, in with the new, or at least thinking about how we manage our financial transactions and the reporting that we do in a different light. But then on the other hand, it could be what's the burning topic today, right? And so I think the audience can expect, in addition to the thought leadership and the stories that we're going to hear from our guests, very topical takes on things that are happening in the business world. And so, really multifaceted in terms of what the brand and what Burning Ledgers represents. And a big shout out to our team and the design team for all the fantastic assets that they're putting together. I just think it's something that's unique, and hopefully the listeners are going to want to continue listening in. Which brings me to my next question for you, Matthias. Why should people tune in? What can they expect in terms of the format of the podcast and the content and the takeaways that they'll get from each episode?
I already mentioned it. I think right now there are, for finance professionals, for finance leaders, we all are thinking about how does AI impact what we do today? What will be the future like? What do I need to do now to be prepared for the future? What do I need to do to keep my company ahead and competitive? and everyone understanding that this is nothing we will just do overnight. So that brings about lots of questions, some insecurity, and going to industry events, for example, it's very evident that we all are asking very similar questions, unsurprisingly. So what we really want and are aiming for is that these discussions that we'll have with practitioners, really from the trenches, we at MindBridge we have the good fortune to be working with large companies, with important companies, with big finance organizations, with lots of resources, and also a strong need to stay ahead. So we have the ability to actually speak to people who are in the midst of this. So that's really, I think, what we aim for. It should be easy to listen to. Should be interesting. It should be a little bit fun, but also they should really give like tangible insight what others are doing. I personally must say, and I think, Ernest, we discussed it in a different context when we spoke about marketing initiatives. Is I am very proud, or most proud, to click on studies that show what are other CFOs doing. That's one thing that gets me most motivated to actually read, for example, content that's sent to me. So this aspect of the benchmark and this aspect of understanding what are others working on that are in the same situation as me or have similar goals to me is, I think, very powerful, and that's really what we want to provide to the listener.
And I'm sure a lot of our listeners are thinking the same thing too, because no one's going through this journey alone, right? We're all kind of going through it together at this time. And so if we don't have to reinvent the wheel, to throw that old cliche out there, why not, right? Like it's better to learn from others, especially putting my former CAE hat on, where it was, hey, let's take a look and see what other people have done and either replicate it or use it for our purposes and tweak it to what we could use it for. All right, last question. A little bit of a curveball here, Matthias. If you could have a dream interview with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
So I would love to get on the podcast CTOs of the large editors of large language models, of the ChatGPTs of this world. I think that would be fascinating to hear what they see happening, and specifically, ask them about what they see happening around numerical data. It's evident that large language models, as the name implies, are built for language. They're not specifically built for numerical data. We just said it. We know that the change is going to happen, but at the same time, as finance professionals, we need to be pretty conservative. We need to keep things safe. Deploying large language models as such has all kinds of challenges. They are non-deterministic. They are built for language, and so I think, me personally, right now, I'd love to talk to to the leading brains on where the technology is going, to understand what we can expect as finance professionals in the near to midterm future.
Maybe that's an opportunity for a company to create a new acronym: large number models or large numerical models. It just feels like there's so much out there with NLP, national or natural language processing, LLMs, large language models, OCR, optical character recognitions. I mean, you name it, there's a technology out there for it. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. This episode today was brought to you by MindBridge, the leader in AI-powered financial decision intelligence. Our platform empowers finance teams to analyze 100% of your transactions, which allows you to optimize performance with greater speed and accuracy. So if you want to learn more, go ahead and visit us online at MindBridge AI. I'm Ernest Anunciacion, and that was Matthias Steinberg. This has been Burning Ledgers. Matthias, just want to thank you for being on the show today. Good luck to you in future episodes. And for our listeners, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend about the show. So until next time, stay classy, humanoids.